What is going on today, you beautiful, blessed boys and girls? Hope you're having the greatest day of your life. If not, just pause, take a deep breath, and let's make it so the rest of the way. So today, guys, I got a fun story for you. This is one that happened to me about 5 or 6 years ago. Something kind of really funny happened to me early on in my professional career. I'm going to share that story and some takeaways that I think we can all learn from, some of the mistakes I made and some of the lessons that I think I did pretty well that we can take and apply to. So backing up about 5 years ago, I was a professional poker player my whole life before this, but at this point I was not a tank top guy. I was a suit jacket and a shirt and tie kind of guy. I started as a bank teller. It was the first job I really ever had besides poker. I pretty quickly got promoted up to being a banker. Did really, really well at that and pretty quickly got promoted to running an entire branch. And so I was the branch manager for the largest bank in the country for a couple of years and doing pretty well at it. Had some pretty good success, had a great staff and great people around me, a great boss that helped me a lot there too. And so then this thing came up where I was in one of the higher performing branches. I got sent up to corporate to have this massive meeting with a bunch of other people doing really well. We got to meet my boss's boss at the time. They had this big spread of great food. It was going to be a learning and a leadership kind of conference. I was really excited about to go connect with a lot of my other colleagues and learn from them at this time too. So my daughter is about 4 months old at this time, and I love my daughter to death. If anybody knows me or is a fan of the channel, man, my daughter's the apple of my eye. I think she kind of saved my life in a lot of ways, just makes me a better guy every day. But when she was 4 months old, I'll be honest, I loved her. I'm not sure if I liked her every day. All she did was scream. All she did was cry. She just literally, we got no sleep. She slept. She cried through the night until she was about 8 months old. So me and my wife were literally zombies during this period of our life. So I was taking a train up to Chicago where this big meeting would be held for 2.5 days, this big conference. And the night before, on accident, I packed my sweatpants instead of my dress pants. So, you know, I'm just in a haze and a sleepwalk. And so I get up to my hotel, I'm unpacking. It's like 9 p.m. and I freak out as I realize, holy cow, man, I got sweatpants. I packed 2 pairs of sweatpants instead of 2 pairs of dress pants. So now I've got this nice suit coat, this nice shirt and tie, nice dress shoes, and all I got to wear is sweatpants with them. So I'm gonna have to walk into this meeting tomorrow. So I called my wife kind of in a panic. What can I do? She said, look, it's too late. The stores, malls, everything's closed. Your meetings start at 8 a.m. tomorrow. Nothing's going to be open. You're just going to have to rock it, And I remember feeling this sort of anxiety creep up. And that's when I just kind of realized, you know what? I can choose to have this anxiety. I can choose to go in this really fearful. Or you know what I can do? I can just flip my mindset around. I can say, you know what? In 5 years, nobody's going to remember this anyway. I'm just going to go in and own it. And so I think I let this get the best of me for probably a couple hours. I do remember calling my wife just in a panic, just, can you drive up 5 hours with our screaming newborn to give these to me? Just anything. Right. And, once I realized there was no hope of getting these dress pants, I had a couple buddies that lived in Chicago that weren't my size either. So I'd probably look just as ridiculous walking in with bigger pants falling off me. Once I kind of, let the anxiety kind of roll off and realized, hey, I just need to go in and own this. It ended up being one of the greatest things that ever happened to me. And let me explain here. So I walk into this meeting the next day, a few minutes early. I got my coffee, I got my sweatpants on, and I'm sure people are going to notice. But the truth is, to be honest, nobody really even notices right away. They're too busy thinking about themselves, the impression they're making, trying to network with other people and all this stuff. So to be honest, nobody really even notices for the first 10 or 15 minutes. So I blew this big thing out of proportion in my head when in reality, it wasn't really that big of a deal. So I think that's the first takeaway we can take is, I see a lot of people saying, yeah, I don't want to go to the gym. People are going to be looking at me starting out. I'm not in great shape. Once I get into shape, I'll go to the gym then, I just want to tell you guys, nobody's looking at you at the gym. Everybody's looking at themselves, man. They're looking at their muscles popping out. They're looking at what they're doing. Nobody is looking at you and judging you. And if they are, they're a piece of crap, man. You don't need to worry about them anyway. But I think it's really rare. In my days of going to the gym, when I first started, I went with a group of guys that were just 100 times stronger than me. I had not lifted weights in a really long time. As a man named Colby, who could probably, bench press and squat, 50 times what I could, 30 times what I could at this point. I weighed 149 pounds soaking wet, but dude, he just encouraged me the whole way, invited me to his friends. No one talked bad about me or thought I was weaker. They were having to take a lot of plates off when I started. This stuff just didn't matter, right? They just encouraged me and helped me. And I think that's a good takeaway we can take is most people are focused on what they're doing, their mission, And if they're already to a certain point, they're happy to lend a hand and help you. I think another example of this is church, right? We see a lot of people, I don't want to go to church because all those people are good. They're holy. They got some kind of special religious thing that I don't have. When in reality, the church is just full of sinners, man. The church is just a bunch of broken people, just like you, just like me, just trying to figure it out, just trying to build community and trying to lean into God and say, I want to be better today. So I don't think you need to be intimidated by those. So that was takeaway number one. Takeaway number two is you just got to be able to laugh at yourself sometimes, poke fun of a situation, and just go with it. I could have walked in there and been super self-conscious about it, put my head down the whole time, hope nobody noticed, felt really awkward. Instead, when the first person asked me, which happened to be my boss, boss's boss at the time, said something about, interesting choice of outfit, I just owned it, man. I just laughed and I said, hey, bro, you know what? I'm more of a t-shirt guy. So I'm gonna bring this environment down a notch. And then I just chuckled with him a minute and said, nah, actually, man, I got a 4-month-old. I haven't really slept in 3.5 months and I accidentally packed these sweatpants, man. So I'm just playing, you know what? On the first lunch break, I'll jet out of here. I'll go buy a new pair of pants. But, just kind of joking around, it became a funny thing, man, where he started introducing me. And I actually made a very good impression of him being like, hey, man, this is the sweatpants guy. Even when I went up there a year or two later to another conference, they call me the sweatpants guy, right? There's hundreds of people in this room at this leadership conference. I mean, most of them probably didn't stand out, but I, in a way, stood out because I was willing to poke fun at myself a little bit, make a joke about it, make some funny conversation around it. Oh yeah, that's the casual dresser. That's the sweatpants guy. Now that we've come full circle and, I never work for a corporation again, I like being self-employed. I love doing what I do every day now. You can see this is how I like to dress every day, man. I'm a shorts and a tank top guy. So maybe this was some kind of Freudian slip by me way back 5 years ago. Anyway, that this is how I kind of like to choose to live. But, going in and just kind of making the best of the situation, I think is the third takeaway. Look, circumstances aren't ideal. I'll relate this back to the gym again and say, look, we had 3 1-year-olds at one point. We've got 2 2-year-olds now. But especially when we had 3 1-year-olds, the odds of all 3 of them sleeping through the night was not great. So there was about a year period there where my wife and I were just exhausted all the time. We'd still go to the gym, still show up. The workout wasn't going to be perfect, but we just showed up and did our best, right? And I think you can apply that to anything, right? Like when I first started YouTube videos, I didn't have a microphone. I didn't have a camera. I just turn on my phone and start recording. Hey, let's just show up. Let's just go. I think that's 90% of the battle in life. You just put one foot in front of the next. It's not going to be perfect, but you just keep going and you just keep moving forward. I always say on days you can't sprint, you got to run. On days you can't run, you got to jog. When you can't jog, you walk. And some days, and I've had a few of these lately, you can't walk, you just crawl. You just fight for these little inches, but you keep going forward. And so that's what I want to relate to you guys today. Anybody out there that might feel stuck or might feel trapped or might feel like, I don't want to start going to the gym or church or whatever this thing might be. Other people might be looking at me. I'm not sure. Just to take a deep breath and go forward and just understand not everybody's looking at you. They're too busy looking at themselves. You can poke fun at some of the things that are around you and just keep going forward every single day. So if this story was kind of funny for you guys, I do remember sweating profusely for about an hour or two until I really reconciled in my head, this ain't going to be a big deal. And looking back, man, I'm still friends with a couple of those people at that conference. And you know what? It all turned out good. And most of the time, I always say this, life happens for us, not to us. So I look back at that situation and a lot of the challenges in my life that I faced, and they help you grow. They help you grow as a person. So instead of saying, hey, God, why is this happening to me? You can reframe that and say, what can I learn from this? And so I challenge you today to reframe any situation that you're in. What can I learn from this, even if it's challenging? And to keep moving forward always. Thanks, guys. Hope you have the greatest day of your life. Thanks for tuning in. Let's go be kind to yourself, be kind to others, and let's have the best day.